Welcome to Precision Countertops Waterjet machine. This video will be in 4 parts. We're going to look at the safety of the machine, including lockout, tagout procedure. We're going to look at daily inspections, what to look for in operating the machine. We're going to look at the new controlling software and how that works. And then finally, we're going to actually put the machine into use. As far as safety goes, remember to keep all shop practices in mind. There is a safety fence over where the controller station is to keep you away from the forklifts, but this is an open area, so be careful and watch what's going on around you. It's just common sense. However, this is not as common a sense. This machine operates at 60,000 psi. The stream of water and or water and abrasive that comes out of this head comes out at an accelerate at 60,000 psi, but it's also accelerated, so it's even higher coming out of the head. It will cut through your body parts without you even feeling it. It is a very dangerous machine. When this is in operation, keep your fingers, hands, body parts away from the head. There is no reason to ever reach in while that machine is on. Always, always shut it off before you do anything with this head. The second part of the safety is the lockout tagout procedure. This machine is unique in this shop in that it has 2 energy sources for electrical. This is labeled the flow water jet. This controls the pump and is 480 volts, 3-phase. This panel behind it is labeled Waterjet Mach 3 controls. It also currently controls the backsplash machine, but that will change ultimately. However, when you're locking out the machine electrically, both of these panels need to have lockouts on them because both send energy sources to the machine. The next is the water. There's actually multiple sources of water. This control is for gray water only. This runs to the table and circulates water in the table. That isn't as critical to lock out. Normally we just leave that running whenever the system is on. You don't have to shut that off at the end of the day. This is pump water. This is clear water that comes from our system, goes through the filters, and then goes into the water softener, and then comes through this booster pump and into the pump itself. That, when you're shutting down for safety, you need, like I said, you don't have to worry as much about this, but you do want to shut off this control and this control as well. This is straight clear water, and this runs through the pump for cooling. This one was labeled. That one is still labeled as far as the pump. The last source for lockdown, tagout, is the air lines. You can either disconnect it here and eliminate the source, or there is a valve down here. For lockout, tagout, it's actually safer to remove the line, and then it can't be energized at all by accident. This second section is basically your daily inspections, what to look for before you turn on the machine. One is to look at your salt level. You can open it up and and see the salt in here. It also will say percentage or how many days until recycle. Make sure this is operating and there's salt in the hopper. Salt should be up about half to 3/4 of the way. Is plenty for this. This actually, when the machine is running on a daily basis, this will recycle just about every day to 2 days. It uses a lot. The machine uses a lot of water. You also want to inspect these filters. These filters look like they probably should be changed, and I will probably change them today before we run the machine. But look to see if they're plugged. These are fairly fine filters, not as fine as what the filters are on the pump itself. But inspect those. Look, they're clear. You can look in there and see if there's a lot of particulate. The next thing you want to check is your hopper. Now this hopper has indicator lights on it that will tell you when it's low. However, it doesn't hurt every day. If you've been cutting the previous day, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and put a bag or two in. You open up the lid. There's a screen in here. You take a sack of the garnet. We're using 80 grit right now. You put the sack in here, cut the sack, and let it go down through. You do not need to move the screen. In fact, it's better not to, because of any large particulate it'll keep out of the system. The next thing you want to look for in daily inspection is you want to look at the pump itself. You want to inspect it for, first of all, hydraulic oil level, and it will be hard to see in the video, but there's a pressure gauge right here. It's back behind its little vial, and you check the level. It should be near the top. This system is actually pretty sensitive, and it will automatically shut down if the oil level gets a little bit too low. It needs to be real right at the top. To fill it, you put hydraulic oil, move this cap, put hydraulic oil in here. Normally, you will not have to fill it, because unless it develops leaks, it will not lose oil. And coming to leaks, that's what you need to look for. There's a pan right here, and that should ideally be dry and empty of oil or water. If there's oil or water in there, we do have leaks of some sort, and the maintenance needs to be notified. There's hydraulic connections all through here, so you basically look the machine over, the pump around, looking for any sign of leaks. Again, it's high pressure. The hydraulic oil runs about 3,000 psi. This pump runs at 60,000 psi. So you want to check for any kind of leaks. The filters will need to be changed on a regular basis. We still do not know how often. We'll probably look at every time we replace a ruby is replace these filters. The other inspection that you'll do, and this isn't so much daily as while the machine's in operation, this warning panel is warnings that the software will give. On the computer screen, it will just say warning. And it'll say, see the panel. This is the panel what you'll look at. The light will come on and stay on until you hit the reset button. The next section is to how to start the machine. verify that the water sources are on, all three. And in fact, there's another one here, this valve, make sure it's open. You should never have to close it, but just verify that that's open. Make sure that this lever, which is the air to the garnet, make sure that is on. Then turn on this air lever. Make sure it's connected if somebody disconnected it. And then turn on the system. And check to make sure that the e-stop is off back here. This lever is set up to control both power sources, both the 480 and the 233 phase. So when this goes on, the whole system is energized. Then come over here to the power head. And in the pocket with the trackball is a key. On the back side, you insert the key, turn the switch, and release. It's a momentary switch. The key will come back out, place the key back in the tray. That turns on the computer. As you see, it's starting to come up. When the computer comes up, this is exactly what you'll see. And what you want to do is go to the Waterjet icon, which is down here, right near the bottom, and double click. The software will then come up. Okay, the first thing that you're going to see on this thing is the reset button is going to be flashing, and it says inlet water pressure low. That's because the system isn't on right now, and that is normal. And the machine will not do anything until that is cleared. So you can come over to the reset button and click once. However, the inlet pressure, the water system is off right now, so it stayed on. And we will have to turn on the house water system before that will work fully. But while we're here, let's go over the whole screen, controls of the screen. This, if you're familiar with CNCs at all, this system is a lot more like a CNC control. Let's start over here. You have your jog. X and Y are off. Z is on here, but Z is not controlled by this switch. Okay? The Z control is controlled right here by this lever. You can raise or lower it. And it is raising or lowering right now. The other location for Z control is out on the end of the arm. There's a switch that's marked raise or lower. It raises or lower as well. You want to be extremely careful when you're lowering that the head, because the tube that comes down is extremely hard, but it's also extremely fragile. If it touches stone, it will crack it, and then it will fail. So just be careful with that. Okay, back to this control. We have the axis selectors. You can select X, Y. You could do a plus jog or a minus jog. You also have the selection of continuous jog, or if you rotate it over here, you have a step jog. The step jog is every time you push the button, it'll go that set amount. It'll go 1/10,000th of an inch, 1,000th of an inch, 100th of an inch, 10th of an inch, or 1 inch. And again, as you push the button, it'll go exactly that amount. Normally, in most cases, you'd probably leave it over in the continuous jog. The other button over here that you're used to, if you're familiar with CNCs at all, is the feed override. You have from 0 to 130%. this will override the speed and speed things up or slows things down. This is nice to use if you're traveling a long distance from one pierce or one cut to another on the stone, and the machine is going at a slow rate. You can actually turn it up and it will show on the screen where you're at, and as you come close to the piercing, you can turn it back down to the normal position. That gives you a little bit of feed override, a little bit of control. You have the cycle start buttons as well, on and stop. You also have them on screen. And then, of course, an e-stop button. This will shut down the system. It does not shut off the system completely, de-energize. It will shut it down and stop the pump, stop it from moving. Underneath the screen, you have a keyboard that pulls down. It's just on a drawer and drops down. In the side of, right to the side here, is a USB port. So if you're putting a program in with a USB, you can plug it in right there. Let's take a look at the screen. We have, it looks pretty sophisticated, like a lot of information. It's actually fairly simple and a lot of good information. In the X and Y, you have your positions. That's the position it's in from 0. This machine can be zeroed in any location. You will home it, and then from home you can zero it there and move it to wherever. You can zero it again, and you'll always start this counting from that 0 position. The Z, A, B, C, ignore, because there's no control in our system that actually does that. This black screen right now will show your cut. And as the machine's making the cut, you will see it move through on that screen. This kind of a green screen here will show the G code. And as you load a program, it will come up and show that. This right now, this button is lit, it's green, it's the program run button, and that shows this screen. If we click on the tool path button, then it'll show the G code here and a bigger picture of the actual cut. You still have the cycle start, stop, and so forth. What you lose on that screen that you need is mainly one button, and that is the pump off and on button. Once you start the pump to start the cycle, though, you can go to the tool path. You can go up to the tool path screen and see what's going on more often. Your offset screen, we won't get into that much, but it is setting up software limits so it controls where it operates. If you're used to CNC, the MDI screen is just like MDI on a CNC. You can actually click down here on the MDI bar and enter on the keypad, enter the MDI code, hit enter, and it puts the code into the system. Diagnostic screen. You as an operator will probably never need to see this. I just want you to know it's there. Right now it's showing the in and out, so that in diagnostics we can see what's actually turned on and off. It also has Mach settings and special functions to reference. Again, as an operator, shouldn't have to worry about it very much. Let's go back up to the program run screen. That's your normal operating screen. And then go down here. You'll see a line right here. It says inlet water pressure low. That, again, that's normal. However, that bar is where all the warning messages will be and communications. So if it might say jets on, and it'll say water pressure low, say hydraulic level low, that kind of thing. You'll see all down here. These buttons down here are your user buttons. However, we got the home button here. You click on home, it gives you the option to home the different axes. You can home all. I don't know if it'll do it right now because of the system not being energized completely. Yes, it is homing. You can see the process going, and it's counting. Again, it will not necessarily count down to 0. But it will go to home. Once it homes, then we will zero the machine. Okay, we're back. The machine is home. As you can see at the top, it didn't zero out. You know, that's relatively normal. So you can come down again to the sub menu, click on sub menu, go to offsets, and you can click on zero all. And the axis is the 0. Now that zeroes it at the machine 0. However, you can come over here to jog and do a plus, and let's go to approximately 4 inches, and then do the X. I made a mistake, I went the wrong way. And it shows you an error message that is shut down in the reset. Come here to approximately 4 inches, and then you can again zero all, and it will zero it there. In other words, you can zero wherever it is, just like I said before. Okay, sub menu always takes you back to the main menu. You have those offsets, user buttons, limits. They all give you different buttons. Most of them you already have access to on this screen. Now, other things you'll see up here, you'll see indicators, lights and whatnot. That kind of tells you what the machine is doing. You don't really need to worry about that. Waterjet, you can set your Pierce display, and I'm going to set it to 5.00. You hit 5, and then 5.0, enter, and it comes up with a 5-second delay. That's an override here. The program will already have Pierce delays in it. So as a rule, you don't have to set that. Other buttons you have are the pump on and off. I'm not going to touch that right now because our water system isn't on and the pump will air out. We have jets on and off and abrasive on and off. Jets on and off, brakes on and off, we won't worry about too much there. I'll show you where we're going to do that in a moment. To load a program, you come over here to load, and it says load load G code. Okay, what you do is you click on load G code, and up will come a screen to open, find the file. Right now I'm just going to load a test program, which is test, open, and as you can see in the screen, the G code has come up. It also has a picture up here of what it is you're copying. Again, if you go to the toolpath, you can see the G code here and a bigger picture of the actual stone that's being cut. Go back to program run. At this point, what you would do to operate it is come down here to user. You're the load, advanced, offset, user, and jog. Click on the user button. And you have a jet 1 on, jet 2 on, jet 3 on, jet 1 abrasive on and off. You want to make sure that jet 1 is on and jet 1 abrasive is on. Now that doesn't turn anything on. That just tells the machine that they are on. However, you can shut those off and hit cycle start. And as you can see in the screen, the machine is moving and going through the program. This is a way of doing a dry run. Now, it came to a cut point. It says all jets are off, pump stop. You can hit OK. And it'll keep on going. It's just a way of dry running. You can hit stop, rewind, it goes back to the beginning. You turn the jets on, abrasive on, and then ultimately to actually run the machine, you turn the pump on as well. Again, I don't want to do that because I don't have any water on. We are going to load a program, a different program than this. We are actually going to turn on the water system and then come back and actually do a cut so you can see that process. Okay. What I have done is turned on the air and water in the house. You don't have to worry about that. Basically, the machine is ready to operate now. I've gone back and checked all, make sure everything's on. I have a piece of material on the cutting table, lowered the head fairly close to the piece. I've loaded a program. You see it's a small horse. The G code is down here. The picture is here. So to actually start the cut, come up here to pump off. Turn it on, you'll hear the pump kick on. And then press the cycle start. And the machine will start to operate. The main thing you want to listen for on the machine is you'll have two sounds. The piercing sound, which is a higher pitch where it isn't going through, which you can see right now.